Very good, everybody. Very good, everybody. Under $2 XRP. We told you yesterday. And there it is. There it is. My fam, we got some blood on the streets ready to go. Let's get people filed in and prepare to what we're seeing right now on X, on YouTube, in the markets, everywhere, everybody, everywhere. We're in. Very good. Go ahead and do this. Man, brother, I gotta tell you. We are sending just the other way. Just the other way. Oh, man. Very good, very good, very good. That's always YouTube fails with notifications. It is the worst. The worst. Okay. 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 All right. Okay, YouTube, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep hiding the truth? Are you not going to tell people we're here? Like you always do? All right. Very good, very good. Will XRP holders be like? Look at that guy. Look at that guy. Isaac in the house. What up, 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 what up? Brad Garlinghouse posting the pre-Thanksgiving rush. Congrats, Bitwise. Every single XRP ETF we're getting, we're collapsing in price. Can we go back to shutdown, please? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We were better during the shutdown, everybody. It's all gonna be just fine, guys. Good. $87 XRP, 87 BTC, went down to 86. Just ridiculous, everybody. So nasty. $93,000. Almost today at 2 a.m. No, at 12. It was 92. Mega manipulation, guys. Mega nasty, ridiculous, oblivious manipulation. Crazy stuff. Oh, man. Honestly, just disgusts me, guys. It's crazy stuff that we're seeing on the screen. But $210 million liquidated. People are getting demolished right now. Demolished. Moonbamber. Look at this. November 3rd. November 3rd, November 4th, November 12th, November 14th, 4 hours ago. Dude, man, this is just sexy stuff. Holding the line, everybody. Holding billions and billions and billions of dollars of longs. Dead. Dead, bro. All right, everybody. Welcome. Happy to be here with you once again for another press conference, press briefing. Caroline Levitt. Should be fun and exciting. I'm always happy to see, always happy to hear. BTC and XRP. Oh, bring the pain, bring the heat. There we have it, everybody. On one side, on the other side. Who wants to be here, right? Not many people, but you guys are here with me, and I appreciate that a lot, of course. Appreciate that a lot. Oh, look. That's her. That's a reporter that Trump told, "You're a nasty reporter." That's the ABC lady that Trump was. They should take the license from ABC. It might get heated today, so I'm ready for that. It might get heated. You'll want to see those pretty good moments. Crypto leverage boys right now. Don't you know, dump it up. You got to dump it up, and don't you know, dump it up. It's just what it is, everybody. But we still have the fam watching with us right now. Cheers. Blood on the streets. It is what it is. Yeah, just look at this, bro. Would you take a look at this right now? Mid-November. We have this one. We have this one. Keep crashing, baby. I need to buy more. Let's go. Absolutely. Get on before it's too late. Bro. We are getting good news, and this is happening. Today we got some pretty good news that everybody was waiting for. The Bitwise XRP ETF, ticker symbol XRP. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Are you winning, son? Are you winning, everybody? We'll go ahead and take a look at the volume soon. Prediction for 2025. I think right now we're closer to under $2, but in Clarity Act, it seems that we're still waiting a long time on that Clarity Act. Might be the rest of November and then sometime in December, according to what Brian Armstrong said. We're still waiting. We're still waiting on that Clarity Act. But people are freaking out right now. People are freaking out more than they have to. It's crazy. They're just, well, what I said yesterday, capitulation. They're capitulating right now. Capitulation, basically. They're selling on selling on selling. Basically thinking that we're going to go much further down. That this is the bear market, basically. CJ in the house. What's up, CJ? Good to see you and welcome. Again, under $2 XRP. Let's go. Respect your Oscar. We're here, everybody. Even in the destruction and even in the pain, we're not leaving, everybody. It's just the way it is. It has to be this way. It has to be this way. Made a video for you earlier today, everybody. Bitwise is live. So we have a few. We have a few XRP spot ETFs, guys, which is pretty good news. Let's take a look at the liquidations. Yep. About to be 1 billion. Look at all the longs, guys. If you feel you're not making any money right now, at least you haven't lost $704 million. Relax. Touch some grass and keep buying, baby. Of course, yeah. So yeah, man, everything is collapsing. I still have my Pengu. Everything is gonna be okay. It's just that it's just a perfect storm. We're doing very well in crypto as far as progress, but that's just the call of just sell everything to the dumpster fire. What do you call this? BOO. During the FTX collapse, we had 12 fear. Now we are at 9, bro. No way. What is this? What is this, bro? No way. Don't you know? Dump it up. You got to dump it up. And don't you know? Dump it up. Crazy stuff. Let's go to the fear and greed index. Are we under 10? Look at this nastiness. Nasty. You know what? We buy the nasty. Oh, you want to buy for the $3 or $4 XRP? That's on you. Look at the beautiful Christmas gift we have right now on the screen. Look at the beautiful Christmas tree we have on the screen, everybody. Who's coming in? Who's coming in? Absolutely huge manipulation, bro. I mean, if you see that as not manipulation, I don't know what to tell you, bro. It's manipulation 100%, bro. The addicted. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. And welcome. Almost 1,000 people. Let's go, guys. How we doing? Hope everybody's doing okay. I got my blood on the streets. Very bloody. Absolutely ridiculous, bro. I was driving back home. I was doing some chores, errands, and my phone going off. Under 90,000, under 89,000, under 88,000, under 87,000. And I'm like, let me live. Can I just leave my home for a while, bro? Sometimes I'm here at home and I'm ready to go, right? But we got some stuff to do outside of crypto. No. Crypto is so jealous. Crypto's like, where are you going? Where are you going? Come back to the computer. Telling you, man. Oh, the smell The smell of pain. Moon Lambo. What is this? I'm telling you, bro. Even them, they're just going with it. They're just going with it. There's Levi. The drifter in the house. Drop, baby, drop. I drop another 6K on the dip. My man. Going in with the nasty dip. I love it. Will the Clarity Act stop the manipulation? I'll tell you what's going to do. What's up, Brad? I'm very happy to see you guys. Welcome aboard. Clarity Act is going to bring, no pun intended, much clear, transparent clarity to companies getting involved with digital assets. And it's going to help the government too. Because not everybody in the government is obviously going to know what in the world is going on with crypto. And they're going to use the Clarity Act, which is going to become law. It's going to be the law of the land for anything and everything when it comes to crypto. So it's going to help a lot. Guys, just look at it this way. This might be the last time you see Bitcoin under $100,000. In the next pump, it's over. It's absolutely over. You see how we are always like around 100,000, 100,000, under 100,000? The next pump, that's it. Adios. You will never see Bitcoin under 100,000 ever again. That could happen to XRP. Goodbye to under $2 XRP. Think about it like that, guys. Think about it like that. This might be the last time we see under 100,000 Bitcoin, under 3,000 Ethereum, and under $2 XRP. It's true. Because there's going to come a time when a mega, incredible, ballistic, explosive, skyrocketing bull market is going to come, and you are absolutely just late. And I don't want to be one of those. No, in the house, 192 income and sector limit orders. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Welcome, Bennett, in the house. This dip is exciting. Obvious manipulation of how taking full advantage. Where would your dream travel spot be when you're a crypto millionaire? What's up, amigo? Very nice to have you, buddy, and welcome. Nice. Honestly, somewhere in Europe. I haven't been in Europe a while ago, you know. Also, Cancun is a great place. Or just home. Just home. Oscar, let's be real. We said that last time when it went to 350. When it went to 350, we had this speculation of the extra PTFs. We had the speculation of the cuts of ending QT. And we had the speculation of Clarity Act and Genius Act. Now we're getting closer and they're crashing the prices because they know that you cannot just have a pump all day long. But are you telling me that we're collapsing to 80s and $2 XRP? I'll take it. I'll take it. Bitcoin went from $250 to $20,000 in a week. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, if we have a really good month in December, we're going to be fine. And everybody's going to be like, oh boy, I didn't buy. It's true. I'm not kidding you guys. It's true. Holding the line. Now, of course, guys, you do you. I'm not a financial advisor. And I don't know if you've been on X, CT, but they're hunting us. They're hunting YouTubers. They just banned someone today permanently. And there's a lawsuit coming in. Like, they are silencing us. And you know that I got a warning, and I got banned, and I got unbanned and banned and unbanned. It's a mess. Crypto is not welcome. Crypto is not welcome yet, guys. It's not mainstream fully. You are early. Get that through your head. You are early. They don't understand crypto. They don't want you to know crypto. They say crypto is for scammers, thieves, criminals. They don't get it, guys. You're early. You need ice in your veins to be able to play this crypto trading game. Oscar, we need you here. What's up, Reynaldo in the house? Welcome aboard. Oh, I'm loving this price at 100%. There's, of course, lots of false channels, 100%, but there's also very good channels. The CIA spoke to you. No. I'm not that important, honestly. I'm not that important. I'm not important, guys. But as a community, we're the industry, right? Clicking on this live, I got an ad from iTrust Capital wanting your XRP. It's happening. Very good. Happy to have you, buddy, and welcome aboard. Very happy to see you guys. Over 1,300 people. Let's go, guys. Now, soon we're going to be listening from Caroline Levitt, the press secretary, of course. And I think we're going to continue because we have, I explained this in my video earlier today, Bitwise. Bitwise. No. Bitwise. Guys, 1 hour and 30 minutes from now, we have this. Matt from Bitwise, David Schwartz, and Eleanor coming in 1 hour, like less than an hour and a half today to space. And we are gonna listen. And for those who stay, it's gonna be so much goodness. Okay? So much goodness. So don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. The Addicted. I keep seeing you. I keep seeing you. You're saying the right things. I like where you're going. Keep at it, brother. And I'm gonna make you a mod. Keep at it, brother. I really like. I remember your name. Keep at it, brother. Okay. I need more mods. Great people. Because we need the right people, guys. So I see the comments here all the time. Appreciate you guys. She's coming in. Manipulation of people realizing it's bearish. Just let clarity come in. See, Marty, thank you so much for the kind donation. I appreciate it. Just let clarity come in. I think we're going to be very surprised in a good way. I think so. Yeah. Don't you not dump it up 100%. I don't really see many admins today, just Brandon in the house. That's weird. Am Night too. I see you, Am Night. Very happy to see you, brother. Welcome. All my people are busy. I've been accumulating XRP since it was 50 cents. Same. I like that, bro. Planets. There you go. Thank you, Planets. Love you, bro. Appreciate it. Okay, manipulation is almost gonna be at 1 billion. Extreme fear. Very good. Everybody's posting, bro. This is the guy running Gemini, bro. They really like to troll.
Cycles. The Bitcoin maxis used to control the conversation on Bitcoin Twitter. Now they're certainly fractured, and crypto in general is just so so many different verticals, whether it's Wall Street or gaming or Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever it is. It's kind of a crypto Twitter is more fractured than it has ever been, but I think that's healthy. I see it in the comments for sure. Just people.
For those who don't know, that is the guy from Alcon Daily, and this is Laya. They're two big influencers in the crypto industry. I've seen them in many conferences. I don't know them, but I've seen them. And I don't know her, but she's also there, very, very active, right? So they're talking about bear market. They're influencers at the big leagues. And they're really good. I always like to listen, It's all about perspective. I always say, guys, like if you want to listen to everyone, go at it and you make your own. You make your own opinions. Great guys. Oh, look at this.
The insidious part about inflation.
Oh, there's a song, so copyright. I cannot. That's a good picture. I like that. I want to save it. Maybe use it for later. BTC coming in under $87,000 today. Bring the pain and destruction, please. We need that. We need that. Grant Cardone says, how low does Bitcoin go before you buy? Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Look at all of this. Everybody watching and panicking right now. First time? Is this your first time? Is it your first time? Dangerous Dave, I see you, bro. No, it is not my first time. That I gotta tell you. Oh, by the way, everybody, just if it wasn't clear before, it's gonna be clear right now. There's not gonna be a cut. There's not gonna be a cut. And it's all because of this guy right here. So 2 minutes coming in, and then she's gonna start. So guys, 12 months, and we only received 2 cuts. And even the camera guy is telling me you gotta cut Jerome Powell. When he does that, it's the call sign. You gotta cut Jerome Powell. But he never listens. He never listens. It is what it is. Let's go to RSBN. Much better audio. Much better audio for us. I want much better audio for you guys, for everybody here watching. A great channel. It's coming in soon. All these ETFs, Clarity Act, surely it gets better. Yeah. Indeed, brother. And Dangerous Dave saying, one day I'll wake up and XRP is going to be pumping. The things that we have to go through, right? All right. I'm going to have an XRP like this. I think BTC is just the same at 87,000. Solana, you know, came down a little bit, but nothing so surprising. I think from $2.12 to $2, not many people were expecting such a fast drop. But hey, we still have some opportunities right here. There she is, everybody. Let's listen up. Caroline Levitt.
Good afternoon, everybody. I brought a very special guest with me today, as you can see, Secretary McMahon. So I will begin my remarks. She's going to speak, and
she's going to speak.
Begin my remarks. She's going to speak, and then we'll take some questions. She'll take questions, and I'll take questions from you as well. First off, yesterday, First Lady Melania Trump and Second Lady Usha Vance traveled to Marine Corps Air Station New River and Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, where they spent the day meeting with students, educators, military families, and United States Marines. Both the First Lady and Second Lady were grateful for the warm welcome and remain deeply committed to supporting military families and the communities that serve our great nation. May God bless all of them. In economic news, the September jobs report showed the American economy remains strong, with 119,000 new jobs added, more than double expectations. These gains came after the summer passage of President Trump's historic tax cuts and multiple big trade deals with countries around the world. In particular, construction jobs surged by 19,000 in September, the largest monthly gain in a year. Nearly all of this solid monthly job growth came from the private sector and went to Americans rather than foreign-born workers, the opposite of what we saw under the previous administration. Inflation also remains under control, and wages are up by 3.8% over the year for American workers because of President Trump's pro-growth policies. In fact, real wages are on pace to increase roughly $1,200 for the average worker this year under President Trump. This is a complete reversal of the failed Biden era, when we saw inflation skyrocket to 9%, causing private sector workers to see their wages decline by approximately $3,000. We know that Americans are still hurting from the 4-decade high inflation caused by Joe Biden and the Democrats. But President Trump is making significant progress to fix this, and he will not stop working until he solves it. As the president recently stated, he is never satisfied. For example, President Trump's policies are working to make Americans' Thanksgiving more affordable this year, from their commute to the dinner table. Nearly 100 million Americans are expected to drive next week to spend time with loved ones for the holiday. And thanks to President Trump's drill baby drill agenda, the national average price of a gallon of gas on Thanksgiving Day is projected to be at the cheapest price since the COVID pandemic in 2021. President Trump is bringing down gas prices and providing significant savings to American families at the pump. And again, we expect those prices to continue to decline. According to the American Farm Bureau Federation's annual survey, cooking Thanksgiving dinner will also cost less this year than it did last year and is down about 5% overall. The average price for a staple of the meal, a 16-pound frozen turkey, is down more than 16% from last year, which will provide critical savings for families and their budgets. President Trump's entire economic agenda is aimed at putting more money back into the pockets of hardworking Americans. That's why he signed the largest middle tax cuts in history into law, from no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, to no tax on Social Security. And according to a new study from Piper Sandler, which is out this week, tax filers can expect an extra $1,000 bump to their tax refund next year and what could be a record-breaking tax refund season. So there is more good news to come. We know these refunds will make a huge difference for Americans to help pay down their bills and use towards life's expenses. In other news this week, President Trump took a significant step toward delivering on a core campaign promise to finally close the Department of Education. To shrink the bloated federal bureaucracy, the Department of Education just entered into new interagency agreements with 4 agencies: the Departments of Labor, Interior, Health and Human Services, and State. These agencies will now ensure the delivery of legally required programs while also refocusing them to better serve students. This common sense action brings the Trump administration much closer to finally returning education where it belongs, at the state and local level, not in Washington, D.C. The Democrats' reckless 43-day government shutdown did manage to do one valuable thing. It proved that America does not need a federal Department of Education. During the longest shutdown in history, the Department of Education furloughed 90% of its staff, and America's education system was not impacted whatsoever. Schools stayed fully open across the country. Students attended class and received normal in-person instruction, and our wonderful teachers received their paychecks uninterrupted. The Democrats' government shutdown made it painfully obvious that American families do not need the Department of Education. Since its creation in 1979 during the Carter administration, the Department of Ed has spent over $3 trillion taxpayer dollars without improving student achievement. Despite pure pupil spending having increased by more than 245% since the 1970s, math and reading scores are down in public schools. In fact, the most recent Nation's Report Card from 2024 showed that 13-year-olds' math scores are the lowest they've been in decades, and their reading scores are the lowest since testing began more than 30 years ago. It's clear that throwing more money at a broken system does not work, and that's why President Trump appointed the amazing leader behind me, our Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, who is making these monumental changes at the direction of the President. We're very grateful to have you here today to talk about these changes and then take some questions. Hopefully folks in this room will have some questions on the very important topic of education. So please, Mrs. Secretary.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Caroline. It's really a pleasure to be here with you today, and thank all of you for being here as well. My purpose here is to speak directly to the American families, not just you, but to the American families, about the work this administration is doing in education to reverse our national decline with a hard reset of our educational system. That reset was a top campaign promise from President Trump to send education back to the states and end Washington's micromanagement of education once and for all. This week we took the most decisive steps thus far to make good on this promise to you. We have linked 6 groundbreaking partnerships with other federal agencies to delegate education department programs that are redundant with existing programs at Labor, State, Interior, and HHS. These interagency agreements to cut our own bureaucratic bloat are a key step in our efforts to shift educational authority from Washington, D.C. to your state education agency, your local superintendent, your local school board, entities that are accountable to you, and we encourage parents to always be involved. Cutting federal bureaucracy is never a popular move among D.C. insiders. A chorus of anti-Trump voices have come out of the woodwork to complain that we are defunding education, harming students, or acting without a plan. This could not be further from the truth. The majority of Americans across the country handed President Trump the popular vote precisely because they have seen the brokenness of a top-down education system run by the federal government. They're painfully aware that only 3 out of 10 students can read proficiently at their grade level. They know that college students are collectively $1.7 trillion in debt, and less than half of college graduates get a job that actually uses the degree which they studied so hard to get. They see more teachers than ever before leaving the profession due to burnout, over-regulation, and lack of autonomy in the classroom. Anti-Trump voices are stirring up fear that returning education to the states is a draconian action. When Americans hear that we are shutting down the department, but given no other details, 51% oppose it. But when those same Americans are informed of our plans to preserve important elements of our work in other federal agencies and to maintain the K-12 funding that is distributed to the states, that number flips to an even greater majority at 56%. They support returning education to the states and breaking up the bureaucracy. That's because the Department of Education is a pass-through entity. It doesn't educate a single student. The money it sends to states for education can be sent directly without waste. The Democrats' government shutdown proved that without a doubt, and I'll reiterate what you said, that the Department of Education was not necessary during the shutdown. Now, this is what I've seen already on my 50-state tour that I've embarked on. Educators are innovating in their schools. States are customizing their budgets and standards, and post-secondary institutions are planning for the economy of the future. But we're not leading them. They are informing us. That's why our final mission as a department is to fully empower states to carry the torch of our educational renaissance. Education is local. It should be overseen locally by those who best know local needs. We're not ending federal support for education. We are ending federal micromanagement and paving the way for education renewal through state reforms like school choice, the science of reading, and restoring the right priorities in higher education. President Trump promised to send education back to the states, and we're keeping that promise. America's next generation will look back on the work we've carried out, thankful for an education system that prioritizes students over bureaucracy. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Madam Secretary. And we'll take some questions for the Secretary if you have them. Elizabeth, why don't you start?
Thank you for joining us. You announced the partnership to move some functions of the Education Department to other agencies. Are you talking to members of Congress about codifying this so that it lasts beyond the administration?
Yes, we started a conversation, and thanks very much for asking that, because there have been some reports that Congress is in the dark on this. That's clearly not true. We've been talking to, I've talked to dozens of members of Congress to explain to them exactly what we're doing, to bring them up to speed, and to say to them, look, when we have completed some of these transfers that are working incredibly well, then we will be looking to Congress to codify those, make them permanent.
Brian.
Thank you. Secretary McMahon, what is the update on the negotiations with Harvard? I know the President has publicly pointed to you as somebody who's worked on that. I think you've talked about that at length, but I'd like to understand, where are things with those negotiations with Harvard at this time? They're
ongoing negotiations. I feel very comfortable that we are getting close to having those negotiations finalized. It's been open door conversation all along.
Deanna?
Hello, Mrs. Secretary. The President recently posted about establishing a federal standard for AI. Do you know if the administration has a view on the use of AI for students in schools? And Caroline, do you know if the President personally uses AI?
I don't think so.
You can handle that
I've never
one.
witnessed it, so I can't attest to that.
Well, I do think AI is going to need guardrails, but I have witnessed AI firsthand. I was at the Alpha School in Austin, Texas, and the first 2 hours of every day in that school, students are learning through AI. They have their headsets on, they're in front of their screens, and the AI is really acting as like an individual tutor for those students, allowing those students that can progress faster to do that. Those who need a little catch-up, it refeeds information to them. And so after those 2 hours of learning, the basics of what they're doing in their curriculum that day, then they spend the rest of the day, I mean, they have good recess and all of that time, but then they spend the rest of the day in what are called life skills, and they're actually using the information that they've learned this morning. So I've seen some AI in action that is really proving quite beneficial.
Michael.
Thank you, Caroline. Secretary McMahon, as the Education Department continues to pare down, can you talk about taxpayer services like charter school grants and how the department will continue to assist kids with special needs?
Well, we are going to make sure there's no interruption in getting that grant money out the door. I mean, that money is it comes from Congress. It's appropriated by Congress, and we legally are obligated to do that. And the transitions we're starting to make, our first programs that went over to the Department of Labor, that was a few weeks ago. We actually signed the first interagency agreement, which we accomplished under the authority of the Economy Act. We transferred grants for WIOA and for the Perkins Act. And the really good news is that the Department of Labor has a much more sophisticated system, technology system and grant fulfilling system than the Department of Education does. As a matter of fact, our executive manager that went over with that group over to Labor said he would compare what the labor system is to education's like held together by bubble gum that is not connected to any other part. So we were able to get those grants out the door more smoothly, and states have actually better access for those systems than they do at the Department of Education. So that's a real bonus.
Take a couple more. Carrie, go ahead.
As far as the diversity, equity, and inclusion new regulations that came out from the administrations, a lot of schools, whether high school or even higher education is concerned, some of them are defying these new administration policies, even apparently according to a new report.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
As far as there's been a new report from the administration saying that half of medical schools are defying the administration when it comes to DEI policies. What type of action will the administration take for these schools that are defying the new DEI policies?
The President has been very clear, and the Department of Education has taken measures to make sure that as schools are developing, their policies, or if they have open DEI offices, they're closed, or DEI regulations and rules are stripped, from their programs, and so that will continue.
Great. We'll take one more. Go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. Secretary McMahon, my question is, since you said 3 out of 10 students are literate with regard to their reading capacity, would now the states help to improve those numbers since you have gone back to the states?
Well, what we are finding that the states that are making great progress, it's through their own innovation. It's not coming from the Department of Education. I think You know, the Department of Education is really misunderstood about what our function is. We don't teach one student. We have nothing to do with the curriculum that are in any states. We are a pass-through pathway from money that's appropriated by Congress to get, to the states. But what we have seen in those states that have taken that initiative and they are embracing the science of reading and returning that into their school programs. Louisiana has done it. Mississippi, they call it the Mississippi Miracle, because they were like, I think, bottom or next to last in reading proficiency in Mississippi. And now they're like middle of the pack, which has been a really big jump. Florida has, Iowa has, Tennessee. So, but these are innovations that are done at the state level. This is not anything we're dictating, and that's why I'm saying returning education to the states where they really are already leading in their education endeavors. And 90% of their budget they provide. The federal government only provides 8 to 10% of the budget for education. So let's make sure that that grant money that's coming from the federal government is getting in their hands as efficiently as possible and getting to students. We don't want teachers having to spend their time and money in regulatory compliance. There was one superintendent chief who said to me that they had done some calculation in their state and that for every dollar that went into the classroom in a grant, 47 cents was spent in regulatory compliance. So let's get the money into the hands of our students and our teachers. Let's raise the level of education. The other thing I'll do, and I'll quickly wrap up for you, is this 50-state tour that I have embarked on. We've done about 14 states. We've shut down a little bit during the shutdown. But what I am doing is visiting different kinds of schools, grammar schools, middle schools, high schools, micro schools, private schools, charter schools, the whole gambit. And in the end, my goal will be, as we step away and fully deliver education back to the states, is to provide them with a best practices toolkit of all of the things that I have seen around the country to say, hey, this is working. Check with these superintendents, check with these governors. And you know what I found a little bit is governors are a little competitive. So it's kind of nice to give some of these best practices out there. It'll work because it's already working. If we leave it with the people who are closest to the students, the president believes, as do I, the best education is that's closest to the child, and parents' involvement is critical to the success.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Linda. Thank you so much. I appreciate your coming today. Thanks for your great work.
Whoops.
And
Thank
she's
you all very much.
a busy lady, so we'll let her get back to work. All right. Thank you again. Well, let's get to it. You guys were so calm with her. I wish you were that calm with me. We'll kick off with our new media seat, as always. Javier, why don't you start us off, and then we'll get to the rest of the room. Go ahead.
Let's get to the questions.
Thank you very much. My name is Javier Negre. I'm from Spain. I'm the owner of the biggest media platform in Hispanic politics, with brands like La Derecha Diario, Ira TV, or UH Plus, or Vicegrad in Spanish. And I'm happy to be here. Thanks for supporting the new media, also in the Hispanic community. We try to fight against medias like Telemundo, Univision, CNN, or NBC News that are spreading fake news and attacking the ICE operations. We will premiere this Sunday the Real America's Voice, the right new show, the first Hispanic show against communism and woke culture that is promoted by people like George Soros to bring communism all over the world, like happened in New York. I have two questions for you, if you don't mind. In Mexico, the young people is protesting against President Sheinbaum. They think she's doing nothing against the cartels. Sheinbaum used the police to attack them, young people, kids, girls, and she's attacking journalists like me in a country where 150 journalists have been killed in the past years. The USA legacy media is attacking President Trump for his comments about the fake news media, while they are not publishing anything about the murders of journalists in Mexico. Why do you think they stay silent about the murders of journalists in Mexico and the attacks to businessmen like Ricardo Salinas? And my second question is, Trump said he has a plan for the narco state of Venezuela. Does he have a plan for Mexico where, according to Stephen Miller, the cartels are controlling governments and territories?
Sure. Well, thank you, Javier, for the question and for being here. We're proud to have new media voices in the briefing room. As for President Sheinbaum and the president's relationship with Mexico, I will tell you that we have seen historic strides from President Sheinbaum and her administration in Mexico when it comes to cracking down on the cartels. They have been incredibly cooperative with the president's efforts at our southern border to crack down on illegal immigration and also the illegal trafficking of drugs at the southern border. Now the president is very interested in taking additional measures against the drug cartels. He's been very clear about that. He's spoken about it, and this is a promise that he made to the American public. And so his national security team is discussing these options all of the time. And on the campaign trail, the president promised to take on the cartels. He has taken unprecedented action to do so, and he has left additional options at his disposal on the table. So those are only decisions that the president can make. Thank you.
What about the silence of the legacy media about the murders of journalists in Mexico? 150 journalists have been killed in the past years.
Yeah, well, it's certainly something we would report on more, and it's something that this administration absolutely condemns. I can't speak for the media, but I can speak for the president. That's not something he wants to see. Thank you. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. Is there anything that Mayor-elect Mamdani could say tomorrow that would ease the president's concerns about his future leadership in New York?
Look, I don't want to speak for the president ahead of this meeting that we are currently working on tomorrow. As you saw, the president put out a statement tomorrow that the mayor-elect will be coming to the Oval Office, and so our teams are arranging those details. I won't get into the president's thinking on it. I think you'll all hear from him directly. I also think I will just add, it speaks volumes that tomorrow we have a communist coming to the White House because that's who the Democrat Party elected as the mayor of the largest city in the country. I think it's very telling, but I also think it speaks to the fact that President Trump is willing to meet with anyone and talk to anyone and to try to do what's right on behalf of the American people, whether they live in blue states or red states or blue cities, in a city that's becoming much more left than I think this president ever anticipated in his many years of living in New York himself. Nancy.
Thanks, Caroline. Caroline, this morning President Trump accused 6 Democratic lawmakers of seditious behavior punishable by death. Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. Let's be clear about what the president is responding to, because many in this room want to talk about the president's response, but not what brought the president to responding in this way. You have sitting members of the United States Congress who conspired together to orchestrate a video message to members of the United States military, to active duty service members, to members of the national security apparatus, encouraging them to defy the president's lawful orders. The sanctity of our military rests on the chain of command. And if that chain of command is broken, it can lead to people getting killed. It can lead to chaos. And that's what these members of Congress who swore an oath to abide by the Constitution are essentially encouraging. We have 1.3 active duty service members in this country. And if they hear this radical message from sitting members of Congress, that could inspire chaos and it could incite violence and it certainly could disrupt the chain of command. These 3 members of Congress, I will also add, knew exactly what they were doing. You look at Alyssa Slotkin. She's a former member of the CIA. Mark Kelly was a captain in the U.S. Navy. Maggie Goodlander was a naval officer, and notably, she is also the wife of Joe Biden's national security former advisor, Jake Sullivan. And so these members knew what they were doing. They were leading into their credentials as former members of our military, as veterans, as former members of the national security apparatus to signal to people serving under this commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, that you can defy him and you can betray your oath of office. That is a very, very dangerous message, and it perhaps is punishable by law. I'm not a lawyer. I'll leave that to the Department of Justice and the Department of War to decide.
But the president has frequently, but Caroline, can I just follow up? The president and the vice president, for that matter, have accused the other side of encouraging political violence. Isn't that exactly what the president is doing when he says that members of Congress should be killed?
Why aren't you talking about what these members of Congress are doing to encourage and incite violence? They are literally saying to 1.3 million active duty service members not to defy the chain of command, not to follow lawful orders.
Actually,
every single
you can refuse an illegal order, which
but
is
they're suggesting, Nancy, that the president has given illegal orders, which he has not. Every single order that is given to this United States military by this commander-in-chief and through this chain of command, through the Secretary of War, is lawful. And the courts have proven that. This administration has an unparalleled record at the Supreme Court because we are following the laws. We don't defy court orders. We do things by the books. And to suggest and encourage that active duty service members defy the chain of command is a very dangerous thing for sitting members of Congress to do. And they should be held accountable, and that's what the president wants to see. Phil.
Thank you. Ambassador Mike Huckabee had a meeting with Jonathan Pollard, a former U.S. citizen who was convicted and spent 3 decades in jail for selling state secrets to Israel. Did the White House know that that meeting was going to happen? Does the administration condone it?
The White House was not aware of that meeting. The president stands by our ambassador, Mike Huckabee, and all that he's doing for the United States and Israel.
You said that the president was going to do what was right for U.S. citizens, regardless of whether they lived in blue or red states. I'm curious if there's any chance in tomorrow's meeting with Mayor-elect Mamdani that he will be able to convince the president to abandon that promise to cut off federal funding to New York City.
Look, Phil, we'll see how the meeting goes, and I'll let the president speak for himself. Natalie.
Thank you, Caroline. What did the president mean when he called a reporter piggy?
Look, the president is very frank and honest with everyone in this room. You've all seen it yourself. You've all experienced it yourselves. And I think it's one of the many reasons that the American people reelected this president, because of his frankness. And calls out fake news when he sees it. He gets frustrated with reporters when you lie about him, when you spread fake news about him and his administration. But he also is the most transparent president in history, and he gives all of you in this room, as you all know, unprecedented access. You are in the Oval Office almost every day asking the president questions. And so I think the president being frank and open and honest to your faces rather than hiding behind your backs is frankly a lot more respectful than what you saw in the last administration, where you had a president who lied to your face and then didn't speak to you for weeks and hid upstairs and didn't take your questions. So I think everyone in this room should appreciate the frankness and the openness that you get from President Trump on a near daily basis.
And
go ahead.
As a follow-up.
Yes.
The Washington Post just reported that the Coast Guard has...
I'm calling on Bloomberg. Go ahead.
Caroline,
thank you.
2 questions for you. The New York Times is reporting that the administration is now sending a U.S. official to the G20. They're sending Mark Dillard. Can you confirm if that is true, and then also explain the shift in?
I'd be happy to explain, because not a shift. The United States is not participating in official talks at the G20 in South Africa. I saw the South African president running his mouth a little bit against the United States and the president of the United States earlier today, and that language is not appreciated by the president or his team. The ambassador or the representative of the embassy in South Africa is simply there to recognize that the United States will be the host of the G20. They are receiving that send-off at the end of the event. They are not there to participate in official talks, despite what the South African president is falsely claiming.
On Ukraine, there have been reports that President Zelensky said, he's looking to look at the plan. That there's been reports about the Trump administration proposing a plan. Can you just give an update on where Russia-Ukraine stands, and does the president plan Zelensky anytime soon, or when do you expect that?
So I'm happy to provide. I've seen quite a bit of reporting on the latest with Russia-Ukraine, so let me clarify and give you guys the truth on where it currently stands. President Trump has made it very clear since day one, and even on the campaign trail, that he wants to see this war come to an end. He has grown increasingly frustrated with both sides of this war, Russia and Ukraine alike, for their refusal to commit to a peace agreement. But nevertheless, the president and his national security team are steadfast in seeing this war come to an end, to end the killing and deliver on the president's promise. Special Envoy Witkoff, that Marco Rubio, have been working on a plan quietly for about the last month. They've been engaging with both sides, Russia and Ukraine, equally, to understand what these countries would commit to in order to see a lasting and durable peace. That's how you get to a peace negotiation, right? That's how it worked with Israel, with respect to Israel and Gaza and all of the Arab countries in the Middle East. That's how we accomplished that historic agreement, which the UN, by the way, voted to commit to and accept this week, which was a huge monumental moment. So they have been engaged with both sides, and these talks are continuing. As always, I'm not going to litigate the details of this plan as it's ongoing and it's in flux, but the president supports this plan. It's a good plan for both Russia and Ukraine, and we believe that it should be acceptable to both sides, and we're working very hard to get it done. And I'll also add, I know Secretary Driscoll did meet with President Zelensky today. We spoke with him. He was very optimistic following that meeting. And so, again, we are having good conversations with both sides with respect to ending this war. Sure. Go ahead.
On Ukraine, you said this is a good plan. So according to our sources, this proposal demands major concessions from Ukraine and doesn't demand much from Russia. So was Russia involved in drafting
Your
this?
understanding is wrong. Have you read the full plan? You haven't.
Sources says, if you can give details,
You've read reporting from one side of the war. And so I want you to understand, administration has talked equally with both sides. You have seen President Trump engage directly with both President Putin and President Zelensky. Likewise, his national security team has as well. In fact, Special Envoy Witkoff and Secretary Rubio met with some of the Ukrainians just in the past week to discuss this very plan. And so just like you saw with respect to Israel and Gaza, we are hearing out both sides of this war to understand what can you commit to end the war. And that's ultimately how we are going to get to an agreeable solution. That's what the president has directed of his team. I know there's a lot of criticism out there and a lot of doubters, but I would just remind you of the historic success that this president and his team accomplished in the Middle East. We believe that is possible with Russia and Ukraine, and we're hoping and working very hard to achieve that. Stephen.
Could you provide a little more context on what to expect tomorrow with the Mamdani meeting? Will it be in the Oval Office, or is it going to be open at least partially to the press?
I don't have any more details to read out for you meeting quite yet, Stephen. I know it's of great interest to you and the New York Post, but we'll keep, maybe if it opens, we can commit to letting you in. Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Caroline. It came up yesterday during a confirmation hearing for the president's pick to lead the CFTC that the CFTC currently has 0 Democrat commissioners, whereas usually it's had 2 or more. Does the president plan to appoint Democrats to financial regulators like the CFTC and SEC, or does the president feel that there shouldn't be Democrat leadership at those agencies, consistent with the administration's move earlier this year to remove Democrats from the FTC and other agencies?
To be completely honest, I haven't spoken to the president about the CFTC in quite some time, but I'm happy to check in with our presidential personnel office and see if there's any updates that we can provide you there. Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. Last week on Fox News, President Trump said that we've had a lot of problems with the French. How would you describe the current relationship between France and the U.S.?
The relationship remains strong. President Trump speaks quite frequently with Emmanuel Macron. I think they have a good working relationship. But the president is not shy to point out when he has disagreements with world leaders as well. And he's done that with respect to Mr. Macron as well. Deanna, go ahead.
Caroline, there are reports that Qatar is acting as a mediator in the Ukraine peace process. Can you confirm that, and why did the president choose that country?
I'm not going to get into further detail than what I previously shared, which I think was quite a bit of information. Brian?
Thank you, Caroline. 2 questions. You were talking about 4 earlier in this briefing about the president's orders. You were going back and forth about what the ad said and what it didn't say. My first question is...
The ad?
The advertisement that the Senate Democrats were featured in. So the first question is, no matter what the order is, it could be to any administration official, military or otherwise, no matter if legal experts might think it's illegal, does the president expect those cabinet members, administration officials to go ahead with those orders regardless of any outside thinking or experts?
The president expects his officials in the administration to follow the law and to demand accountability and hold people accountable for their dangerous rhetoric. And I would just add that if this were Republican members of Congress who were encouraging members of the military and members of our United States government to defy orders from the president and from the chain of command, this entire room would be up in arms. But instead, it is the other way around, and I think that's quite telling. I'm going to let you all go because the president, excuse me,
Oh boy.
I appreciate the encouragement this afternoon, but President Trump is about to meet in minutes with Israeli hostages who this administration freed, and so I'm going to go up to that meeting, and you will hear more about that later. Thank you.
Oh boy. Ooh. Fam. There were a lot of people in that briefing. He didn't take any questions from ABC or CNN. How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to the channel, Oscar Ramos Live, keeping you the latest of what's going on. I think the price of XRP froze, which is good, but we don't want to see, more goodness here. Drop a like, guys. Consider subscribing to the channel and turn on the notification bells. Do not go anywhere because we have Bitwise right now coming in with a nice, coming in about 30 minutes right now. So it's going to be a conversation. We're going to have Bitwise CEO, CFO, David Swartz, and Eleanor Tourette. So if you are in the XRP army, this is something that you want to wait to listen. And I want to be here. There you go, everybody. Let's go. Let's go. There were a lot of people. Look.
Be Democrat leader.
She didn't get to ask a question. She didn't get to ask a question. Like so many people here in the front row. I think she asked a question. She asked a question. Wow. Yep. They really needed the time,
With Emmanuel Macron, I think they have a good agreements with Deanna, go ahead.
Caroline, there are
Going back
were Republican members of Congress who were encouraging members of the military and members of our United States government to defy orders from the president and from the chain of command. This entire room would be up in arms. But instead, it is the other way around, and I think that's quite telling. I'm going to let you all go because the president, excuse me, the president.
It's like the first time that I actually see she's obviously busy with something else, like as she just mentioned, with the president, activity he's gonna go right now. But she usually stays there for much longer.
I appreciate the encouragement this afternoon, but President Trump is about to meet in minutes with Israeli hostages who this administration freed, and so I'm going to go up to that meeting, and you will hear more about that later. Thank you.
Democrats in that video. That's actually not what they said.
Yeah, there are always people that are mad in that way, guys. Close this one right now. I'm going to wait for this one about 30 minutes or so, less than 30 minutes. So it's nothing. Piece of cake, nothing, everybody. Oh, man. 198 BTC. We'll take a look at BTC price right now. MicroStrategy Bitcoin position to turn red if Bitcoin falls another 15%. 8 trillion Morgan Stanley says that he's not going to cut. 10 extreme fear, guys. At last, I miss our extreme greed friend. I miss it. Tomorrow it's gonna be cool, guys. We're gonna have a Mamdani meeting with Trump. This is gonna be everywhere, guys. So Friday we're gonna see more pain, maybe. Who knows? Let's go ahead and bring a trading view right here. How much we crashing? Or 86,000 BTC. Oh baby, approaching 85,000 BTC right now. Approaching 85,000 BTC right now. Look at that. What is this? What is this? Oh, there it is. Comments, and questions right now. I only got $85 left to buy 197 XRP. It's going to $74,000. Fake photos in the chat. 86,000, 197. I mean, we got a lot of great news, guys, but for some reason right now, everybody's thinking, let's just sell and get some people liquidated, right? Already passed 1 billion liquidations in the last 24 hours. What great news? Ooh, we got many, bro. Hey, this was 900. It's not saying 900. It was supposed to be 900. Go ahead and move this a little bit left. Now we're going to go ahead and do this. Perfect. We'll go ahead and do this. Perfect. All right. That's exactly the way I want it. You're seeing right now on the screen is the paint on the streets, and I will go ahead and open up X in just a moment. We'll take a look at the questions right now and see what you guys have to say. Well, whatever question you have, guys, go at it. We're really happy to see you. No matter what it is, we're not going to leave. We're not going to leave. The exposed NVIDIA bubble. Retail is in pure hopium mode. I feel sick, someone says. So many ETFs coming. True. Today we got another one. FYI. Okay, now back to watching Austin Powers. Hope you had a good one. Thank you so much, Andrew. Appreciate that a lot. BTC approaching 85,000 right this second. It's going to get to the 38% retracement BTC. It's approaching the 38% retracement right now. Oscar, do you think the ETFs will push the price much? Right now, what it looks like is sellers are absolutely dominating the space. Bears are in total, complete control, everybody. Bears are in total, complete control, but not for long. It's not going to be forever. At some point, we're going to bottom. Now we saw that bottom for XRP is not at $2. And now we saw that BTC bottom was not at 90,000, 84,000, 85,000. So, obviously not the greatest Q4. Not the greatest Q4 in our life, bro. My goodness, I'm so much underwater. Only God alone can help me at this point. What's up, Safo? In the house, welcome. Brandon White, I saw TJ and Ghost. Thank you guys for being here. I saw TJ and Ghost a while ago. We got about close to 2,000 votes, fam. XRP will, and what's winning is go much lower. Everybody's getting ready for this one. Everybody introducing the Bitcoin XRP ETFs. This is going to be important because it's going to answer many questions that I have as far as the impact of XRP ETFs. And it's going to help a lot of people holding the line and learn what's coming. So, yep, that's why I'm staying here. I want to listen to a little bit of this. Matt is the CIO for Bitwise, co-founder and previous CEO too. He knows a lot. Oh, I'm not following him? That's so weird. I thought I was following him. All right. Very good. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what's cooking right here on X. It's always something interesting, especially with the market right now. There's Levi, Evernorth. You guys remember the great news about Evernorth? Those were awesome news, right? Didn't do much. Didn't do much. For the price, at least. What is this?
Congressman Warren Davidson is introducing a new bill to codify Trump's executive order for a U.S. Bitcoin reserve. Congressman Davidson joins me now. Congressman, a series of questions here. Number one, what is a Bitcoin reserve? What does it do? And how do you build it?
Well, first of all, the president created a strategic reserve of Bitcoin in part because the United States government didn't have like a single custodian. You had every agency in the government that might have had an asset, seized an asset, or anything else, any kind of digital asset. They didn't have custody of it, so they were losing track of the private keys. So essentially, when you lose your keys, you lose. It's like losing a pile of cash.
Yeah.
So they created an organized way and put it under Treasury to say, hey, we're going to have a single custodian for all of the Bitcoin, kind of like Fort Knox for crypto, right? Okay. And then they said, well, not all crypto is created equally. Bitcoin we want to hold on to. It's an appreciating asset over a long period of time. Some of these other things, we should just sell them off and buy more Bitcoin. But they wanted to do it in a deficit neutral way. And I think a lot of people have been like, well, how else do you put money in there? And so we're introducing legislation that not only codifies that executive order, so there's a common sense way to have custody for the Bitcoin and other digital assets, but you can contribute. So when you pay your taxes, you can pay your taxes in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is currency in that sense, and there's no capital gains. So for people that have held Bitcoin for a long time, they've experienced significant capital gains. When I first took office in 2016, Bitcoin was $500 or $600. Now, over 90,000. It's reached higher, but significant capital gains.
Significant capital gains. Pretty good. Look at this one. The market's dip comes as expectations for a December Federal Reserve rate cut fade. Yep. How crazy it's that just because of a few bad macro news, there goes the whole market. But we have amazing crypto news, amazing crypto industry updates, and they don't matter. In the short term, of course. I want you to get this really inside, because that's really what it boils down to. We don't have any type of control in the macro. And macro is killing us basically right now. But we have a lot of control in the crypto industry because we have learned, and if there's a company or project that is actively hurting customers, we're going to go after them. And we've seen that in 2025. Companies go bankrupt because they lure or they harm investors, right? I think the crypto industry has learned very well how to go about that. But outside of the crypto industry, we don't have any control for the Russia-Ukraine war, the shutdown, the FOMC. We don't have control about clarity. We just don't have control on so many things that affect your bag, fam. When you tell me why are we crashing, it's not like we can just fix it because we have to rely on the government, or we have to rely on so many people. So, yeah, I mean, it's just what it boils down to. We've had so many great news, so many Ripple XRP updates, industry updates, investments, countries, companies, and all of that. But at the end of the day, the macro news are affecting us. And the first thing that we see right here is, hey, the optimism is obviously decreasing, and right now we just have to wait for Jerome Powell to leave. Good. Happy Thursday. So much winning. Eric Trump says Q4 will be unbelievable for your crypto backs. Bro, that's true. He said it, bro. He said it. He said it. Q4 is going to be unbelievable for crypto.
And the future is incredible. The future is bright. The future is incredible. And I think fourth quarter of this year is going to be unbelievable for a host of reasons. So super excited.
There you have it. No, he tweeted and he kept saying it. There you have it. Now, with this, I'm not saying he's lying. What I'm saying is that no one knows what's coming and everybody's bullish because we see the industry, right?
And the future is incredible. The future is bright. The future is incredible. And I think fourth quarter of this year is going to be unbelievable for a host of reasons. So super excited.
How do you think Bitcoin's going to go?
I've always said that I think in time Bitcoin surpasses $1 million. I think with quantitative easing that we're going to have starting tomorrow when the announcement's made, and all signs point in the right direction, unless this guy's really off his rocker, but then he's going to just get laughed out of this country. But I think starting tomorrow you're going to see right drops. You see what's happening with M2, which is the money supply around the world, which is skyrocketing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth quarter has always historically been the best quarter, or generally the best quarter for cryptocurrencies, and the future is.
Everything he said is happening in the opposite way. Now, but what he said, historically speaking, it happens. Historically speaking, that's the way it goes. But it's all just going the opposite way right now. It is what it is. Thank you, my friend. That's what he said. About 15 minutes to go, guys. About 15 minutes to go for this conversation with Eleanor. What is this? The Senate AG will vote this afternoon to advance the nomination of this person for CFTC chair. Awesome. Okay. Hopefully he's pro crypto, or something like that. We need someone that's a friend. We need someone that's a friend. Yeah, everybody's predicting now. Everybody's predicting all the bunch of cuts. Morgan Stanley says 3 cuts in 2026. Yeah. As long as we remove Jerome Powell from office now, finally we can start, going back to real predictions, because, yeah, nothing is really going to change much as long as he's there. Now we have to wait until 2026. Hey. In May, right? Yeah. I know everybody right now is looking at me saying, Oscar, I cannot. There's nothing we can do, fam, at this moment. Only huddle. Huddle the line. There it is. Jobs. 119 jobs added, 4.4% unemployment rate right next to me. That is coming from Fox News right now. Jobs report shows better than expected job growth. So it's supposed to be giving us like a nice relief, but not really. Oh, look at this. Grayscale, it's coming in. GXRP. Grayscale is coming, everybody. Grayscale XRPTF is coming soon. So today we got Bitwise and Grayscale is coming soon. Great stuff. Somebody says depression. That's a bit of good news there. What's up, Safo? Good to see you, buddy. Welcome. Mid-February, March 2026. My time frame for next bear market bottom. I see the way it is, guys. Tough. Lock in. Don't you not pump it up.
The weirdest part about this market is no one has any idea what's going on, because all of a sudden we got the White House saying, hey, we're not going to release job reports for October. Then we got Vitalik yesterday saying that quantum computing is going to break crypto in 2028. We have Ray Dalio now saying that Bitcoin's not good enough because it's not censorship resistant. You can track it. We have the Fed decision coming in December, and now all of a sudden you want to know what's pumping. It's that we're not getting a rate change in December. That's a 64%. I did a 5x on Polymarket. No one has any clue what's going on. Meanwhile, crypto is absolutely nuking. We have Bitcoin below 87K. I can't remember the last time it was literally just down only like this. Frankly, since 2021, 2022, with no relief. Meanwhile, equities don't look bad at all. Nvidia beat earnings. The S&P 500, I think, was up 1.5% last time I checked today. So we're in uncharted territory at this point. I'm buying. I bought at 96K, thinking I bought the dip last week. I bought yesterday at 91, and now all of a sudden I'm down 4 or 5% on the yesterday's buy already. I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm just kind of buying a little bit as time goes on. But this is disgusting. No one knows what's going on right now. This is complete chaos. All you can do is just strap in and hope you don't get absolutely rinsed. The number one tip, if anything, that I can give you right now is don't leverage trade, because you will lose money.
That is Clemente.
The weirdest part about
I think everything he said, it's factually okay. And at the end, I think leverage trading, I haven't opened a leverage position since October 1st. Although I'm down in my spot trading, I haven't lost any money because I haven't sold. And I've been very open with you guys. Go back to October 1st. I've said it, guys. Right now I'm doing spot. So it's almost going to be 2 months of spot, which I like because, hey, that's my choice. That's my decision. You guys can do anything you want, right? Some of you people watching me are crushing it with shorts. And that's awesome. That's awesome, bro. Make that money with shorts. Great. Kudos to you guys. Make it. But just know that we all have a choice. We all have a choice. Yeah, shorts are cleaning up. Yeah, shorts right now are really making a lot of money, which is good. There's Tom Lee. They are pulling out all the stops to try to manipulate Bitcoin lower using perps and futures and other derivatives. They're working overtime to try to scare people out of their corn. Do not fall for it. They're running one of the biggest scams I've ever seen in the markets, period. Oh, yeah. They're going in. They are going in. Oh, look. David. We got a David update. Either there's a free expression right for popular social media platforms to exist, or there's no free expression right to post unpopular content on social media. David, he's gonna come in soon, guys. Coming soon. What is this thing?
My administration would be Donald Trump's worst nightmare. I have many disagreements with the president, and I believe that we should be relentless and pursue all avenues and all meetings that could make our city affordable for every single New Yorker. I intend to make it clear to President Trump that I will work with him on any agenda that benefits New Yorkers.
Okay. Tomorrow's gonna be so sexy, guys. Get ready for some spicy headlines. Oh yes, you know that we might be collapsing, we might be crashing, we might be crying, but no crying in the casino, by the way. But we got our memes, guys. Oh yes, we're gonna get our memes coming in soon. You know it. You know it. All right. This is coming in soon right now, so get ready. We're going to be listening. And I'm excited, bro. Today at 1:30, and today is 1:30, so yeah. Good. The domino effect. What is this?
You know, I think we are getting less volatility. When I got into this space in 2020, Bitcoin was an 80 vol asset, growing about 80% a year. And it's ground down to 70, 70, 60, 60, and now it's 50 vol asset, growing about 50% a year. I think every few years you're going to get another 5 points of vol taken off it as it matures, and it's kind of grinding toward being about 1.5 times as volatile as the S&P index and 1.5 times better performing. You know, I think we are getting less volatility.
Less volatility, and we're still going down. Don't you love it?
Raoul Pal pointed out that Bitcoin is following the ISM, the Global Business Cycle Indicator. Rates elevated for longer than usual, which extended the business cycle. The Treasury stretched average debt maturity from 4 years to 5 years, which slowed the liquidity rotation that normally feeds into Bitcoin. And in his mind, that means that the entire macro clock shifted. And that shift added another year to the cycle. Okay, let's continue with what we have now. This move.
Okay, so we just added another year to the cycle. Don't you love crypto, everybody? Let's open up tequila. Let's open up whiskey. Let's open up rum. Let's open up. Just get something right now because I need it immediately, guys. Man.
The liquidity peak from 2025 to 2026, and that means the Bitcoin cycle could be following it. People expected 2026 to be the down year because that's what the old model told them.
Exactly. Like 2025 was supposed to be sexy, nice. Let's go have fun. We made it, boys. 2026 was like, okay, let's find our top and then come down. We haven't seen that yet.
They tried to get ahead of it by selling early in 2025, which created weakness that the market then fed on. Enough early sellers can distort the cycle itself. That creates a strange loop. People acted on an idea from the past. Their actions reshaped the present. And now the cycle looks off, completely different.
There you go. We're in. Perfect. Don't you know, pump it up. You got to pump it up. And don't you know, pump it up. Come on, everybody. Give me a little bit of a pump. Give me a little bit. Got a lot of people here. Drop a like, everybody. Consider subscribing to the channel. Turn on those notification bells. And welcome aboard. We're live. We're still live. Bitwise. And the entire XRP army is going to be here. Everybody's getting involved. We're going to be listening to them. Right now, they're muted. So, yeah, let's see. Let's see. We're in. We're in. We're going to be listening to this. It's about to start in 2 minutes or so. I'm hungry too, guys. What should we eat? We have steak. I can go for steak. I can go for Olive Garden. Maybe some sushi or so. On something delicious, guys. I want to keep crying in the casino a little bit, but with a steak, you know? Something nice. Maybe a tomahawk. Hey, there's David. Perfect. Steak. I see cookies. Nah, not cookies. Mexican burritos. Nah, too late. That's for a Saturday, bro. It's a Saturday at 9 a.m., bro. Texas. Ooh. You want a nice buffet, right? Not bad. Yeah, I think steak for sure, guys. Tomahawk Big Dog, of course. Okay, guys. I'm going to go ahead and mute completely, right? Because this is going to be a good conversation that I'm going to go ahead and just let's enjoy and learn. I'm going to go soon to my kitchen and check a few things, but just want to make sure that the audio works well. Usually, X spaces go for long, but this one, I don't think David is going to be talking for long, so it might be 30 minutes or so. I don't know, 40 minutes, an hour. We'll keep watching the price. Melted butter. Oh, yes. You know, I had a chicken plate with the broccoli. Last time I went to Longhorn Steakhouse, it was delicious. That broccoli, the bomb. Then I asked for this for the sweet potato. Oh, bro, no. It's just a pot in my mouth. Yep. Strategy MSTR stock moving higher. Okay, very good. Like that. There's Matt. There's Eleanor. Bring it.
Hello, everybody. We're going to get started in just a few seconds.
Okay, audio as
So bear
well.
with me.
Perfect. There you guys have it. You should be able to see everything. You should be able to listen to everything. I think having David is the reason why I'm here, honestly. I think one of the reasons, if not the only reason I'm here with you, is because David came to the conversation. I want to listen to what he has to say because there might be a bunch of questions regarding ETFs, price, adoption, XRPL, and you guys, you love that. Stop talking about food. I mean, it's already almost 2 p.m. Central, bro. We gotta get some food. Dumptober. All right. Very good. Go ahead and there it is.
Alrighty. Going to kick things off here. David and Matt, I believe you guys are in the chat. Actually, I think Matt might still be a listener. So just checking in. David, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just brilliantly. We'll give Matt a second or two to come up here as a speaker.
I think I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Oh, that's so weird.
That's all right. I'm here. It's good to see you. Good to see you, David.
Nice to see you, Matt.
All right. Cool, cool. All right. Well, let's kick this off. Hi, everybody. And thank you for we're at 1.3 thousand listeners tuning in to this space on this lovely Thursday afternoon at 2:30. So thank you all for joining. I'm excited to kick this off. We're talking XRP, obviously, ETFs, and what this all means for investors and the market. So the big news today is that Bitwise just dropped their first XRP spot ETF. It's the second one out there on the market. And we've got Matt Hogan, the Chief Investment Officer of Bitwise, and David Schwartz, Ripple's Chief Technology Officer, here to break it all down with me today. So let's get started. Matt, I want to start with you. Can you explain why now, basically, what's the significance of launching the XRP ETF at this moment? And what does the timing tell us about the current altcoin ETF landscape and the institutional demand that we're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. First, it's great to be here. Honored to be on the stage with David and with you, Eleanor. And thanks everyone for listening in. Yeah, really excited to bring the Bitwise XRP ETF to market on the New York Stock Exchange with the phenomenal ticker XRP. Excited to bring it to market with the lowest fee on an XRP ETF at 34 basis points, waived for the first month, institutional custody. We want to make it push button easy for every investor around the world to gain high quality exposure to one of the most exciting, largest, and longest standing crypto assets in the world. In terms of the timing of the launch, it's worth noting that Bitwise, of course, has wanted to launch an XRP ETF for many years. We've held XRP in our index fund. It's on the Mount Rushmore of crypto assets, one of the most important, best known, strongest community, incredible technical backing. And it wasn't possible until now. Under the new regulatory environment, I'm sure David will have a lot to say about what that means for XRP and sort of the change that we felt. But from an ETF perspective, we can now help investors gain exposure to these incredible assets for the first time ever. I think it means that an entire group of investors, new types of investors who couldn't or didn't feel comfortable accessing these opportunities in the past, can now do it. And the other thing it means is that institutional managers like Bitwise can go out and talk to institutional investors and family offices and financial advisors about the opportunities in something like XRP, which is not something we could really do before we had a product on the market. So I just couldn't be more excited for today.
Yeah, Matt, I'm glad you brought up the regulatory piece of this because that's something I think, everybody in the space has been eager to talk about, to see, since this year has really ushered in a new era for, what is possible, I think, in this space, not just from an ETF standpoint, but from a company standpoint. And David will be able to speak to this very well. But Matt, just want to quickly ask you how the recent regulatory and legal clarity around the digital asset space and around XRP specifically directly enabled this ETF.
Yeah, I mean, that is the word. It directly enabled this ETF. You had two things that happened. One, you had the long overdue regulatory relief against XRP and sort of the SEC's effort to label it a security, which was thoroughly rejected at court and then repealed entirely from the market. And then you had the idea about whether investors should have access to high quality crypto assets and ETFs, which was very difficult under the Gensler led SEC, which pushed people to invest in these assets in more challenged and less secure formats. And that's now reversed. Now, under this Atkins SEC, they're open to doing business on high quality ETFs. So we've seen a number roll out, more will come. But we're still dealing with the very largest ETFs in the market, or the largest crypto assets in the market, like XRP. It's pretty great.
Yeah, so David, the SEC, as everybody on this space knows, officially ended its lawsuit against Ripple in August after years of XRP basically being in regulatory limbo. I think your CEO, Brad, called it regulatory purgatory. So, what do these ETF launches say about XRP's maturity now and its credibility in traditional financial markets today?
Yeah, I think there's an increasing recognition in the United States, particularly. The rest of the world was, realizing that these are real tools, that there's real technology here, and the United States increasingly became out of step with the rest of the world. And I think recently we've seen the United States, align itself more with the way the rest of the world has been looking at digital assets. And XRP fought its own battle and had that regulatory clarity, but I think the drag on industry adoption, especially enterprise adoption of blockchain technologies, was really harming, the growth of all blockchains. Now we're seeing increasing. I think the United States, changing its tune has also helped accelerate the adoption internationally. We saw the Basel Committee say that global crypto rules for banks need to be revised, which is brand new. There's clarity with MiCA in the EU and frameworks in the UAE, Singapore, Japan. So I think it came at just the right time, because I think if you look at what's going on inside the crypto space and DeFi, most of the use cases are centered around gambling, and you're not gonna revolutionize finance with a new way to gamble. What you need is a new way to do things that are sensible, rational investments and loans and all of those types of things that the cryptocurrency space can't provide without regulatory clarity. And the acceleration has really just made a huge difference in the use cases that blockchains can target.
For Ripple as a company, how big is this ETF milestone for you guys?
Yeah, this is huge. Being able to have exposure to digital assets in a regulated way through institutions that have custody done solidly. It's a huge obstacle for the adoption of blockchain technologies and DeFi sort of generally. If you have to do everything yourself, if you have to self custody or and seeing this get integrated into the existing financial system. I know there was sort of an ethos in this space that like the financial system is bad and that we should just like recreate it, but like you can't recreate it from the outside. And enterprises are starting to see that these technologies are beneficial for them, and I think that's critical. And the ETFs are just like there's these regulated stable coins, regulated ETFs. These institutional adoptions of the technology are just going to make it so much easier for mass adoption globally.
Mhm. Matt, from the conversations that you're having at Bitwise, can you share some of the reasons why institutional clients and the advisors that they're working with are actually interested in XRP exposure as opposed to some of the other assets that you guys offer in your ETFs?
Yeah, I would say there are three reasons for it. The first is that it's targeted at very exciting themes that everyone wants to get exposure to, right? XRP is a way of playing the growth of stablecoins, the way of playing the growth of tokenization, the way of playing the growth of DeFi. And those are themes that are extraordinarily resonant with traditional investors right now. They all get those ideas and see the real world applications, maybe better than they do even something like Bitcoin. And so as a result, they're looking for the best ways to invest in that, and that obviously includes XRP. So that's one, is just a very exciting theme. The second is that the XRP community is just unrivaled in its passion and commitment, and is built on a very long, more than decade long track record of being in the space. I think institutional investors like Lindy crypto projects. They're more worried about projects that have just emerged. They wonder if they will emerge and disappear. When you start to talk to them about an asset with the kind of longevity that you've seen in XRP, that really resonates with them. And then the third is that there's a set of institutional investors that look at the crypto market and are looking for a place where they have edge, where they can have a view that's not held as consensus in the community, of broader investors. And I think a lot of them see that in XRP. I mean, I don't have to tell you guys that there's a array of different opinions on XRP in the marketplace, but I think a lot of people overlook its true potential because it faced really severe regulatory repression for so many years. And so I think for some group of investors, they look at that and say, we're just at the cusp of seeing the real world adoption of what this chain and this asset can be. And so that sort of alpha orientation appeals to them. So whether it's, the exposure to stablecoins and tokenization, the long-standing nature of the blockchain, or the idea that maybe some people haven't quite figured out the reality of the strength in an asset like this. I think that combination is what attracts people.
David, can you speak to that a little bit? I'm curious, from where you sit at Ripple, what would you chalk up sort of Matt referenced it a little bit, sort of the animosity maybe? Is it a little bit of tribalism? I know that's sort of like rampant in the crypto space. Obviously, everybody's got the coins that they love and will be loyal to, right? But Matt referenced the sort of the overlooking of the utility of the XRP ledger and of XRP as a token. I mean, kind of what do you chalk the maybe some of that up to? Is it maybe a combination of just not knowing, and maybe a little bit of the lawsuit, kind of putting that down the list of tokens to focus on? Curious to know your take on that.
I think there's a couple factors. One is that there was some early Bitcoin maximalism, and we were like the first alternative to Bitcoin. We were the first blockchain that wasn't, a clone, Bitcoin or a direct clone of it back in 2012. And so I think part of it was just that we were a sort of a counter narrative inside a counter narrative. Bitcoin was like a radical counter narrative there, and was very small. And then we were just like a counter narrative inside that counter narrative, which is like, who are your allies when you're the small out group of a small out group? I think another factor was the SEC litigation, and I think a lot of people just assume that, wow, they must really have done something bad for the SEC to have targeted them. And it took a while for people to look at the lawsuit and be like, wait a minute, the SEC conducted a thorough investigation, and that was the best they could come up with. I think also we were just really early with some ideas that were just very controversial. Proof of work was the only technology that people thought was was blockchain, and be able to come around on that, and the greater functionality. I think we were just early to a bunch of things. But I think also some of it is just irrational. I think part of it is that if you hold Bitcoin, any counter narrative to Bitcoin you perceive as like a threat to your bottom line. And so I think there was that early tribalism. I think that's going away now. I think people realize that if you want the ecosystem is going to have to succeed. Just like there couldn't be a world where there's only one successful internet company, it's almost inconceivable that there's a world where there's only one successful blockchain or only one successful DeFi. It's just inconceivable. It's either the space is going to succeed or it's not. And I think people are realizing that the space is going to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Space for more than one person. I'm looking at my charts right now, and I'm seeing, let's see, XRP today is, it's a little under $2 right now,
Talk
but
about
the market cap,
price.
I mean, XRP currently has a market cap of just about $120 billion. Matt, what does increased institutional buying through the ETF mean for the XRP market, do you think?
Well, I'm the CIO, so I'm pretty sophisticated, and what my sophisticated approach tells me is that when there is a fixed supply and more demand, that's probably positive for prices. It's not a guarantee, but that's something that we've seen. I will say this: if you think about the audience for an asset like XRP, that audience has roughly excluded most of the money in the world. That's true for all crypto. And we've seen when ETFs launch that the circle of investors who can allocate to it just expands dramatically. You start to get advisors able to allocate to it, family offices, institutions, and on up the chain. They control trillions of dollars, and they're starting from a position at zero. So at least for the first year, 18 months, etc., it's strictly net inflows. And so when you have more people able to buy an asset with a limited supply, all else equal, that's very positive. So I think it's hard to look at opening this up to institutional capital as anything but net positive. Obviously, the long-term price of an asset is driven by its fundamentals, but it's also true that if you exclude a big portion of the world's money from being able to gain exposure to it, and then you open that up, that is a major catalyst and major positive as well. And I think that's what we'll see as ETFs open up more and more of these assets.
I should have asked you this in the beginning, but how's the ETF doing on its first day of trading?
It's really been amazing. I don't have the statistics in front of me of where it ranks for day one ETF volume, but it did north of $20 million of trading. There's obviously a strong Yeah, more than 1 million shares traded on a day when the market is down. I think that's an incredible response to a new ETF launch. It's probably one of the top 10 day one volume days for any ETF, not just crypto, but any ETF this year. So the response has been amazing. And, as the market recovers, I think it will do even better.
Yeah. Uh, I'm going to ask you about retail versus institutional demand for the ETF a little bit later, but I want to get to David and ask, let's get into kind of the interest around XRP and why investors are kind of focusing on it now and sort of what the value prop is here. David, from your perspective, what would you say is the single most important investment thesis for XRP? I've heard for many years that it is, it's the speed, it's the cost, it's the settlement mechanism for cross-border payments. That's sort of what the token is known for. Would you say it's one of those, or is it something else that distinguishes XRP from Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Solana?
I think XRP occupies a unique niche kind of between Bitcoin and Ethereum. XRP is the first blockchain built on any, that wasn't a clone of Bitcoin or Bitcoin itself, dates back to 2012. Doesn't use proof of work. It uses what we now call proof of association. It was the first ledger, to have tokenized assets, at the time called issued assets, used for things like stable coins. It has a native decentralized exchange to allow people to move between assets. I think the value proposition of the XRP ledger for XRP is a curated set of financial primitives. So rather than the sort of free-for-all of platforms with smart contracts or the very, very limited functionality of something like Bitcoin, XRP, the XRP ledger has a set of financial primitives to provide, useful services. We see it as a public good. We see it as something that you sort of can't partition off or own. And these features include things like escrow, decentralized identifiers, decentralized exchange, and so on. And so it's a platform for enterprises to do business.
Mm-hmm. Can you describe some of the other use cases, I guess, aside from making cross-border payments faster and cheaper, I guess, aside from the financial side of things, the payment side of things, some of these other use cases on the XRP ledger that are requiring the token itself?
So XRP has a unique position on the XRP ledger. It's the only asset that you can use to pay fees. It's the only asset that everyone can hold. It's the only asset without a counterparty. It's used as a bridge asset when two tokens don't have a direct trading pair. So if you're trading between two assets where there aren't a whole bunch of people who want to trade in the other direction, the network will automatically route the trade through XRP to improve speed or pricing. You don't necessarily see it as a user, but XRP does work behind the scenes to make those markets more efficient. And you see that as an XRP holder in the form of increased liquidity and increased ability to trade. There's settlement for tokenized assets like real-world assets and stablecoins. They frequently need a neutral asset to settle between them. XRP acts as that settlement layer, making exchange between these assets smoother and more cost-effective. And it's not tied to any jurisdiction. So, it can be held, it can easily be acquired and held by anybody versus stablecoins, which have ties to jurisdiction. So XRP provides liquidity across pairs on the DEX and order books. And then there's also cross-chain liquidity, like with the XRPL EVM sidechain and cross-chain protocols like Axelar provides. So XRP can be used in other ecosystems as collateral, as liquidity. So there's a broad range in multi-chain DeFi. And I think what we're starting to see, growing in newer use cases around the permission DEX for institutional trading. So institutions can trade on a DEX while still meeting their compliance obligations, settling directly on the ledger, with the ledger providing liquidity and settlement. And then the lending protocol. One of the most key TradFi functions is being able to lend and borrow money. And I think it's interesting as a lender, particularly because it gives you the ability to get a reasonable return for an investment of capital. XRP can be used for collateral because it's fast, low cost, and native, and it's likely to be one of the more commonly used options. But the protocol will support, using other assets.
Mm-hmm. So you see more demand as the demand from institutional investors perhaps rises through the ETF.
What?
Compared to the whole TradFi space. And so I think as we bring these institutional use cases into the ecosystem and onto the ledger, you're going to see that kind of growth of the use of XRP.
Mm-hmm. And are there any metrics that institutional investors can use to track the utility of XRP?
Well, I think the big one is, the market cap is obviously a huge metric currently, like $127 billion. I think looking at adoption by institutions for real world assets, companies like Guggenheim Treasury Services, Ondo Finance, Aberdeen, Franklin, the number of transactions processed, there's something like 4 billion transactions that the XRP ledger has processed, settlement speed, which is just a couple of seconds. The number of new users coming onto XRP Ledger, I think 500,000 new users brought in this year alone just from Zaman, which is just one wallet platform. And then I think we're going to be able to see, like, how do the ETFs do? How do companies like Evernorth and the digital asset treasury companies do? I think those metrics are going to be, is there institutional interest? Is there growth? And so I think, and then the growth of DeFi ecosystems on the XRP Ledger, like Uphold, Axelar, Doppler, and those other companies to see. The number of tokenized real-world assets. The XRP Ledger just broke into the top 10 platforms for tokenized real-world assets, and so we'll see all those metrics.
Awesome. All right, Matt, I'm going to circle back on this question about retail versus institutional. I mean, we have, let's see, two and a half thousand listening right now, and I'm sure a lot of those listeners are members of the XRP community, XRP army, whatever we like to call them. It's a passionate community, as you mentioned in the beginning. I'm curious. I wonder what the level of buying is that you see for this ETF. Is it coming from the retail side, at least initially, or perhaps for a longer time period on the brokerage platforms, or are institutions going to drive most of the flows for this ETF?
Yeah, great question. The answer depends on your time scale. So, on the day that an ETF launches, what you typically see in terms of buyers are retail investors and hedge funds. And the reason for that is that they can move with the push of a button. If you compare that to, say, a financial advisor, they may need to check with their client to see if they can move them into a new asset, or they may need to talk to their investment committee, or they may need to due diligence the ETF. All of those things take time. They can take a day, they can take a week, they can take a month. For a large national account platform like Morgan Stanley, they could take a year or more. So that is a slower burn. So you typically see day one, it's hedge funds and retail. And that is your initial bolus of interest, trading, and flows. And then you have this much slower burn of institutional long only adoption that eventually becomes the dominant driver of an asset. But at least out of the gate, it's very important to have retail and institutions. I should say something that's obvious to ETF lovers, but maybe worth reiterating. One of the beautiful things about ETFs is that you, as a retail investor, can buy the same ETFs that the Harvard Management Company, that the Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund, that the largest institutions in the world get used to get exposure to crypto. So you do have both use cases, but for sure, initially, it's the fastest moving investors, which are retail investors and hedge funds, that you see moving into assets on day one.
Interesting. And then, given that retail enthusiasm, how do you assure maybe cautious IRAs that the support that you're getting reflects genuine utility rather than just sort of like initial retail hype?
Yeah, you have to have a conversation with them about the nature of the asset and the nature of the opportunity. With something like XRP, I think you spend a long time talking about the incredible efficiency of the blockchain, the incredible low costs, the business type orientation, enterprise style applications that you see. And I think when you do that, they start to see that this is either one of the crypto assets that they want exposure to, or maybe one that they want to overweight in their portfolio. It won't be every investor that decides this is for them, but it will be a number. It starts with education. One of the things about Bitwise is we have a 20 plus person sales team. They do 15,000 meetings a year with institutional investors. And XRP won't come up in every one of those meetings, but it will come up in a number of them. I'll tell you that when I go and meet with the largest financial advisors, XRP does come up. They want to know what we think. And now we can tell them, and now we have a vehicle that they can use to express that view.
Hmm. Let's talk structure and value prop of owning XRP and an ETF, because you just mentioned some of the cool features is that you can buy an ETF along with some of those big hedge funds, those big sovereign wealth funds are buying the same.
My fam, I see 2 hour live right now here. 2 hours live. Time for me to take a break, much deserved break. but I just posted here on the chat. Go ahead and watch it, listen it, enjoy it, fam. Enjoy. I need some food in my system. I need to take a break, right? So I will relax and we'll come back stronger. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for coming to the space. Appreciate that a lot, honestly. JB, Ghost, everybody here in the chat, members, donors, thank you guys. Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a very good one, to save for later. I'm sure that they're they're not recording, so yeah, I'm happy that we got at least some. But yeah, I gotta relax for a bit. No breaks, another 2 hours. No, bro, I need to go ahead and relax, man. I did already 2 hours, okay? Thank you guys. Love you all. God bless you. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for the link. Yeah, here's the link. Go ahead and keep listening. All right? Peace.